All right, folks, welcome to Into the Fastlane. This is my weekend show. I did mention I was going to be doing this past, I guess it'd be, Thursday? So, for everybody watching, everybody who's jumping in, thank you very much. For anybody who's, just now enjoying this little bit, well, here you go. Yes, for those of you who are noticing, yes, the channel name has changed to Warwolf rather than Warwolf 1. I finally figured out how to change that. I feel like an idiot. So there's that. All right, so we got a couple of things here. I'm going to jump right into what I said I was going to. We're going to start with professional wrestling, since I did say we were going to do that. I did get a chance to watch SmackDown. I was not quite overwhelmed, but not quite underwhelmed with what they did with SmackDown. I thought they had some good points. I thought they had some dull points. Let's see. Let's start with the big one. We have two matches that have been officially added to Fastlane, and they are the result of events that took place this past Friday night. We have Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Seth Rollins. This will be Rollins' first pay-per-view match since his return. Of course, for those of you who are not aware, he is either engaged to or married to Becky Lynch, and they just, I believe, had their first child. Becky is still at home. Obviously, I would assume recovering from the pregnancy, as well as, starting up, the life of being a mother. We don't know if she's going to start bringing the I don't know if it's a son or a daughter. I think it's a daughter. If they're going to start bringing her to the shows, which, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a wrestler had brought their family to the arena, but we'll have to wait and see. So again, congratulations to Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. So there's that. And then the other one that was added, this one just apparently came out of the results of this past Monday, but they didn't really think to add any information about this last night while they were on the subject of the card for Fastlane, which I kind of consider that a very big oversight. We've got Matt Riddle, or as they're calling him now, just Riddle, taking on Mustafa Ali. Now, of course, Mustafa Ali, the leader of Retribution, which is this weird, I guess it's meant to be a shot at Antifa, which, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. They are this weird little, again, I don't know what you'd call them. I don't know if you call them an anti-terrorist group or something or whatever. They are just this weird little group. They started out as just causing all kinds of weird mayhem in and around WWE events. They eventually showed up on Raw. They were eventually discovered to be under the leadership of Mustafa Ali. That one's going to be for the United States Championship, so we're going to have to wait and see how that all develops. So, let me talk a little bit about the show last night from what little I can remember, because I'll be honest, Raw and SmackDown, they haven't been particularly memorable in the last couple of weeks. They've been a little bit better. They've been a little bit worse as things go, but what are you going to do? So some of the highlights, again, I love the encounter between Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins. I thought that was really entertaining. I like the fact that they're finally doing something with Shinsuke again. Of course, Shinsuke has held championship gold in WWE, but he's been really heavily underutilized. And I'm starting to wonder why they brought him in, because they had a perfect chance to bring him into the WWE and give him the World Heavyweight title when he was pursuing Jinder Mahal. Of course, Jinder Mahal, I believe he's of Punjabi descent, or at least he's marketed as such. He's living in Canada, and I believe he is Canadian-born, but I believe he has been taught the Punjabi language, so there's that. I thought it would have been interesting to see one international superstar defeat another internationally descended superstar. This, of course, would have been when Nakamura was chasing Mahal for the World Heavyweight title a couple of years ago. They've kind of underutilized him since. He's had the U.S. title, the Intercontinental Championship, and I believe he's also held the World Tag Team titles over in WWE, and he's held multiple championships in New Japan. Yes, he has SmackDown Tag Team Championship with Cesaro, which, of course, is how this whole thing that we've got now with Seth Rollins has come about. Because they are, although they're no longer teaming, at least for the moment, there is still obviously a lot of respect and friendship between the two men. Cesaro right now, storyline-wise, has been removed from the roster. I don't know if that's because he has a legit medical issue or whatever, but Shinsuke's stepping up in his place. So there's that. I love the confrontation between Big E and Apollo Crews, which we're finally starting to see again that really aggressive side of Big E when we saw him when he started first going off on his own in singles competition after Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods were drafted to Raw, but Kofi ended up remaining on SmackDown, which, not Kofi, Big E, good Lord, sorry, these three are so intertwined in my head, they might as well be one person. Big E has shown moments of very heated aggression, after being split off from the New Day. They're calling him the powerhouse of positivity. I think they're getting ready to change up his gimmick at least a little bit, because this, I think, is the first time we've really seen him just go so off the wall crazy since the initial split, when he was basically left on his own on SmackDown. That, for the last couple of weeks, we've seen Apollo Crews really kind of just running roughshod over everybody, including Big E. And Big E was so pissed at what had been done to him in the last couple of weeks that he actually drove Apollo Crews into retreat, which is the first time we've seen that since Apollo's heel turn. Now, I don't know if that means we're going to see potentially that we might end up seeing Big E turn more like an anti-face character. So he's still a good guy in the sense he's still a face, but he's taking more violent responses to those individuals who he ends up going up against. Also, hey Marcus, welcome to the stream. I don't think anybody else from any of my subscribers have actually shown up other than you, so I guess there's I guess you kind of have that distinction for the moment. We'll see how that goes. So let me get on to my predictions here, because again, there really wasn't much going on last night. We did get a pretty decent match out of Jey Uso and Edge. Of course, Edge winning, so again, we don't know who he's going to side with in the main event of Fastlane. That pretty much wraps up, my that whole thing with SmackDown. I mean, we've got some stuff with Dominic and Rey Mysterio, Alpha Academy, and the Street Profits, along with Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, but they're not getting anything on Fastlane, so I think they're building this as a feud that's going to erupt into a big fatal four-way at WrestleMania. So give me just a moment here. I'm going to take a quick drink so I can wet my throat, because I'm getting dry throat here. And then we will jump right into the predictions. Okay. So we're going to do this in the order that I'm finding it on Wikipedia. I don't know if that's going to be the exact order that we're going to see for Fastlane itself, but we will see what's going on. 1 second here. So we start out with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the reigning WWE Women's Tag Team Championships holders, and they are going to be defending those titles against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. This is a tag match for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. We saw potentially signs of issues regarding Nia Jax. I keep wanting to pronounce her name as Nia. I don't know why. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on SmackDown, where some miscommunication saw Shayna Baszler basically come near to kicking Jax's head off. So we'll see how that develops. Again, I like Sasha Banks well enough. She's got a lot of talent. She's had some great matches, especially with Charlotte Flair. I do not like Bianca Belair as a character. So it was nice to see her basically get her head handed to her for a good chunk of the segment they had with her, Natalya Neidhart, and Tamina Snuka last night. That was okay. I'm sorry, it's just like Bianca strikes me as trying to rip off the gimmick for Mr. Perfect, and she's not doing it well. She doesn't really have the charisma, in my opinion, to pull that gimmick off. I mean, she's got a lot of talent, so she can certainly pull off the actual gimmick itself, but she doesn't really feel like she has the mic work to bring this character to life in such a way that I can either love to hate her or want to, cheer her on. She's bland as hell to me, and what's bland to me is going to bore me, and what bores me, I don't want to watch. That's the only way I can think of to put that. So let's see what we got here. Next, we have Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman versus Daniel Bryan. This is going to be the main event. I don't know why Wikipedia is listing this as the second match on the card. I sincerely doubt they're going to do that. This one is going to be way too hard to call right now, simply because I talked about this on Thursday. We don't know exactly what is going on with Roman, so we don't know why he's basically we don't know why he's in this match with a title on the line. We just don't have any clue why he's in this match. When they were originally slating for a tag match, it was supposed to be Roman and Jey Uso teaming up to take on Edge and Daniel Bryan. I've said this before. I will say it again. I fully expect that if Roman is slated to retain the title, assuming he's perfectly healthy, I think he's going to retain the belt, and that Jey Uso will somehow get involved, and that will lead to Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso in some kind of a match at WrestleMania. In which case, we would still then have Edge versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in the overall main event of the show for one of the two nights. Now, remember, they've split WrestleMania into two nights this year, as they did last year. And I said this the other day, it really feels to me like they're turning WrestleMania into Wrestle Kingdom. And now and I think that's just half because they're only just now starting to get an audience back in for the show. They finally made tickets available for WrestleMania. So, I mean, take it as you will, what that means. I'd like to see Daniel Bryan versus Edge just because we know that Daniel Bryan can put on a phenomenal match with damn near anybody. Edge is one of the best workers in the business. And put those two together, they'd actually have a pretty decent match, I think. And I believe they've actually wrestled before. I don't remember offhand because it's been so many years. And, again, Edge retired about 2 years before Daniel did. And then, of course, Daniel came back a year and a half before Edge did. So it's a whole thing there. So there's what we're looking at for the Universal Championship. I don't know if they're trying to get the belt off of Roman because of medical issues. If they are, this explains why they changed this into a Universal title match rather than the tag match they had initially intended. If there's nothing wrong with him, I've got to wonder, is this because Daniel is getting ready potentially to have to go back into retirement and they just want to give him one last big run? We don't know. All right, so next, we talked about this a little bit already. Third match that Wikipedia has listed is Biggie versus Apollo Crews. I want to see them make something of this match because they've been building this as a very weird feud. I don't know why they randomly turned Apollo Crews heel, but okay. He and Biggie do have some good chemistry together as opponents. We saw that when they had the first couple of Intercontinental Championship matches. We saw it again on Friday when they basically beat the hell out of each other in the backstage part of the arena where the so-called WWE Thunderdome is. I love that golf cart moment. It's like Big E's just chasing. He's not even chasing Apollo in the golf cart. He's looking for him in the golf cart. Apollo's looking for him. He looks to one side. Oh, crap. There's headlights. Is that a car? No, it's a golf cart. Which is worse? I don't know. But either way, Big E still tried to run him over with it. Personally, I want to see Big E successfully defend the championship because at this point, the only person he's really defended the title against for the most part has been Apollo. And again, I don't like that weird accent that Apollo is using now. They're trying to flesh out the whole I'm the son of Nigerian royalty or whatever the hell it is. So I like that they're trying to give some meat to that. But again, the accent is what kills it for me. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, that accent sucks. But other people are saying, well, what if that's his real accent? I don't know if it is or not. I'll be honest, I really don't know if it is or not. I know for a while there was the case where Kofi Kingston, who is from Africa, was marketed as a Jamaican, and credit where it's due, he did do the Jamaican accent, or at least the stereotypical approximation of one. But once it was revealed, yeah, he's actually from Africa, he just dropped that and he just talks normally. Now, again, he might have a legitimate accent, but if he does, he has worked very hard to eliminate it. And it could be to the point where it's second nature to him to just talk without the accent. I think once you've had a certain amount of training, you probably just speak without the accent after you've spent years trying to eliminate it. Whatever the case, I don't like the accent that Apollo is using because, I'm sorry, it just makes him sound stupid. I mean, this man is extremely articulate, very concise, and for somebody with a partial hearing loss in both ears, him being able to be clearly understood has always been one of the best points that I thought for his promos. All right, because a lot of people, whether they're, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, some guys, because if they have a soft voice, it'll be hard for me to hear or understand them. Apollo does not have that problem. He's got a very strong, very powerful voice. And the accent, I mean, I can understand what he's saying, but now it just really sounds stupid. And I'm not knocking anybody who's got that accent legitimately. But for me, it's like after years of hearing him talk without any kind of an accent, for him to suddenly be putting this accent on is really, really stupid. And I kind of think it's a little racist. That's just me. That's just me. Again, I'd love to see Big E retain the title. I want to see him go on to face somebody new at WrestleMania. They've got about 3 weeks to build it, so they could do it. My guess is if Apollo does win the title, then Apollo is going to be facing Big E at WrestleMania, where Big E will retain it, or not retain it, regain it, and that would make it his third time as Intercontinental Champion. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Next, we have Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. This one could be anywhere on the card. This could be the opener. This could be the mid-card. This could be anything. Personally, this is the match I am absolutely dying to see because anybody who saw their big knockdown drag-out match, I guess it'd be like 2-3 weeks ago now, these guys have the ability to have a great match. That big no DQ bout, holy crap. Holy effing crap. These guys really just, they just ripped it apart. And this is going to be no holds barred. So this is going to be just like that match on Raw, but because it's a pay-per-view, I think they're going to be allowed to go even further than they already had been. So as crazy as that match was about 2-3 weeks ago, whatever it is now, as crazy as that match was, which basically ended in a no contest because they basically beat each other unconscious, this time it's no holds barred. Expect things to be even crazier. Serious. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to see something as crazy as the barbed wire exploding bombs in ring death match that we saw at AEW with that weird lame ending to the match, but I genuinely think we're going to see a great match out of these two. Next, we have Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. Now, they're calling this a match. I don't know if this is going to be a legit match or not. Be very interesting to see how they're going to handle that. I remember actual straight-up intergender matches from Lucha Underground. They were great. I remember Sexy Star, Taya, Black Lotus, I think was her name, and a few others, and they really did put on some great matches with the men. WWE has not done this kind of a match in literally decades. I can't remember the last time we had an intergender match in WWE. I fully expect The Fiend to pop up sometime during this match and that this will kick off Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. I fully expect that. Who do I think is going to win here? Honestly, I kind of think Randy's going to get the advantage. Then all of a sudden we're going to see The Fiend. He's going to do something crazy. Alexa's going to take advantage of it, get the win, and then, like I said, we're going to see Randy versus The Fiend at WrestleMania. As for who I'm predicting between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, we know that Drew is going on to WrestleMania to take on Bobby Lashley for the WWE World Heavyweight title. I would like to see that they would put Drew into the driver's seat, get him some momentum going into WrestleMania, and that he'll end up taking down Sheamus. However, given how incredibly phenomenal these two, and no pun intended, AJ Styles, given how good these two have had a time of beating the living hell out of each other, and that big knockdown drag-out match from a couple of weeks ago, it's a coin toss. I cannot words today. It's a straight-up coin toss here. I don't know who's going to win here. I know who I'd like to see win. Nominally, I'd love to see them just go to a draw and then have Sheamus go, hey, I nearly beat the living daylights out of Drew McIntyre. We took each other to the limit. I should be in this match with Bobby Lashley and just have them turn it into a triple threat. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'd love to see it. So then we got Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Now, my gut says Rollins, this is his first major match back in pay-per-view. He's going to win this. I'd like to see Shinsuke go over here. I'd like to see him win just because it could be the beginnings of them finally giving Shinsuke Nakamura his proper due. This guy held the New Japan Pro Wrestling equivalent of the World Heavyweight title. Of course, that's the IWGP World title, which apparently they've only just recently now renamed to the IWGP World Championship, which is weird. He pretty much made the Intercontinental Championship in New Japan his own. And again, it's just, I really feel he's been underutilized by WWE. Will Seth go over in this match? I'm going to say probably the odds for that are around like 95%. I mean, there's a chance Vince might say, you know what, let's have, Shinsuke go over and then have them do a rematch at WrestleMania. Maybe they'll do it the other way around. Seth goes over on this pay-per-view and then Shinsuke goes up against him at WrestleMania. Or maybe something else happens. Who knows? Finally, we got Riddle versus Mustafa Ali. And the only thing that I can think of to say here is I'm praying to God that they didn't just put the United States title on Matt Riddle just to give it to Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali is a great talent. He has what it takes to be a champion, and I think he could be a good one, regardless of this idiotic group that he's leading now. Because, I'm sorry, Retribution's an idiotic gimmick. But either way, the man has a lot of talent, but I don't want them to just put this belt on Riddle just to have him lose it to Ali, unless the idea is for Riddle to reclaim it at WrestleMania. They had Riddle chasing this belt for almost a month and a half, where all of a sudden, midway through that chase, Bobby Lashley suddenly turns into this unstoppable juggernaut. And then the only way they can think of to have Riddle win is to have him win a triple threat match. But now they're putting him up against Mustafa Ali. So what is the point of this? I don't understand it, other than to look at it through the lens of they want to make him a paper champion to put the belt on Mustafa Ali to give Retribution a little bit more oomph as a gimmick. That kind of pisses me off on several levels. Riddle is talented. His gimmick is weird as hell. I absolutely hate the gimmick. Because, like, bro, it's like, okay, I get it. He's a stoner. They're trying to turn him almost into like a Rob Van Dam 2.0. The difference is RVD was never that far gone. And again, it's like he almost comes off in some ways as like a white version of R-Truth. Now, R-Truth's gimmick is that he is either outright delusional as a result of, you know, years of basically being unable to break into the main event, or he just kind of just took one too many shots to the head. I'm not sure which it is. But that has been his gimmick, and he's really owned it for the last 5-6 years since they debuted it. I mean, for God's sakes, does anybody remember the whole thing about Little Jimmy? Does anybody remember this other than me? Because I'm still laughing about it to this day. Oh, we got some new No, Toin Toss, not Coin Toss, Shadow. Also, welcome to everybody who has just joined the stream. For anybody who's here from from the last stream, welcome back. For those people who are now here on the stream, welcome for the first time, if that may be the first time. All right, so we just covered my predictions for Fastlane. So let's get into the world of pop culture and a couple of things I've been listening to and hearing about. So first off, I've been watching, as anybody here knows, I've given a lot of credit to Clownfish Tea for a lot of the things I talk about, because I do follow them on a pretty regular basis. And first off, I am laughing about the whole thing with Teen Vogue, because they called it. They straight up called it. The minute cancel culture came for somebody that the left thought was good, all of a sudden, oh, now it's really cancel culture. I find that hilarious. Meanwhile, anytime somebody says something, you know, and they don't like their politics or they don't like, you know, anything else about them, oh, that's not cancel culture. That's just being held accountable. Well, believe it or not, the softest of softcore fluff news in YouTube, that would be the Young Turks. They decided they were going to weigh in on this, and of course, see, I can do it too, Cenk. They decided to go, oh, this is really cancel culture. Why? Because we like this person, because they check all the right boxes. Yeah, never mind, Cenk, you're an idiot. Anyway, the long and short of it is, there was an editor, I can't think what the hell her name is, but mainly because I'm too lazy to care at this stage, because she's been there and gone. She was going to be the editor for Teen Vogue. Apparently, some of her old tweets came back to haunt her, and she resigned before she was even due to start her job. And of course, you know, people on the left are whining and complaining. It's like, how dare this happen? And it's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Right now, we can honestly say cancel culture has finally, once again, proven itself to exist to the left. They're going to forget about it as soon as like the next shiny thing comes along to try to use as a deflection. But, I mean, it's happening. We've talked about how cancel culture will come for the left eventually. It'll show up sooner or later in large fashion, but right now we're starting to see it start to creep in on itself. Because eventually, when you run out of people that you don't like to try to cancel, especially if the cancellation doesn't work, you're going to start to see them eat their own because they have nothing else they can think of to do. So there's that. as far as the Snyder Cut goes, I know a lot of people have been talking about this. I haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting until the 31st. I'm going to get the HBO Max trial. So this way, after I watch Godzilla vs. Kong in the theaters, if I can actually get in to see it, because apparently tickets are flying for that thing in the theaters right now, including the one we got up here. If I can watch it in the theaters on opening night, I'm going to, and then I'm going to, get HBO Max's trial. I'll then watch it there because, why not? I'll also watch the Snyder Cut during whatever time I have for the trial. I've been hearing a little bit of mixed reactions to this. Midnight's Edge, and Tom, if you're listening, you still got to get back to me. Basically, the general way I've been seeing this so far has been that the results are mixed. Fans are saying it's better than what we got in the theaters, but not great. I've been hearing a lot of people say it's mostly a slow-mo spot reel, where there's a lot of stuff that's just in slow motion. There's talk that this apparently had a lot to do with Cyborg, and I'm not sure if it was Andre, Rob, or Tom, but it was somebody in a panel the other day that I was watching from Midnight's Edge, where they basically said this was effectively a Cyborg origin movie in disguise. That somewhat seems to bear out some of the things that we heard from Ray Fisher, where he said that the original version of this movie had a lot more to do with Cyborg. He's probably kicking himself in the ass right now because, let's be honest, he's kind of burned his bridges, I think, with DC, and more specifically with Warner Brothers, when he started making all these claims about issues with Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon. I'm not sure I don't remember if he made any comments about Zack Snyder himself, but he did try to make a couple of comments claiming, Joss was, this, was that, Jeff was worse, that kind of thing. I believe Jason Momoa has tried to claim that, yeah, he was telling the truth about this. Apparently there's been some bit of an explanation given to why he was never given validation. That's because apparently there was an investigation into all this. Apparently the investigators did not agree with Ray Fisher's assessment. He's just going on running his mouth about it, and I think he's burned his bridges. I could be wrong. Right before I started this live stream, I was watching the Vivzy Pop live stream, and for anybody who is a fan of their work, I'm right there with you. They're doing signings for prints. I don't know if you had to order them via Streamly or not. I think it's called Streamly. Or whatever it was. I didn't find out about it until literally the last minute, and I'm kind of sad about that because I would have loved to have gotten a print of Luna signed by Erica Lindbick. She is my favorite character on Hell of a Boss. She did very well as the AI. I'm trying to remember what the hell the AI's name is now off the top of my head. From Pacific Rim the Black, but I did find that funny. I'm hoping she'll be back. I would assume she'll be back for that because they left us on one hell of a weird cliffhanger for that show. Yeah, we got a comment here that I really feel kind of fits, that Jason Momoa can't escape Atlantis. Well, to be fair, I don't think he wants to escape Atlantis simply because Aquaman did like gangbusters. It was like $1 billion or something like that. Overall box office, which is really, really good. The only downside to that movie is Amber Heard, and from all accounts, I got to go back and I've been really delayed on that. Loa, thank you. So yeah, and that's voiced by Erica Lindbeck, and again, I love the fact that she's in this, and it kind of feels like Luna is the AI, just because I don't think she uses a different. I think it's just her regular speaking voice. In fact, she mentioned that in the live stream. I think that live stream might still be going on. If not, then it's been switched over to them doing the print signings. yeah, I'm very, very anxious to see season 2 of Into the Black. I don't know how many seasons they're going to have. Again, I'm very curious. They've added some interesting ideas there. I mean, they're not the first one to have the idea of, oh, hey, random character turns into a giant monster. So, I mean, for anybody who thinks, oh, hey, what they did with Boy was phenomenal. It's like, yeah, that's not even the first time that idea has been done. I mean, for God's sakes, does anybody here remember Frankenstein Conquers the World? That's basically what this is. Speaking of new seasons on Netflix, I'm very much looking forward to season 4 of Castlevania. I'm still waiting for a release date for that. They said it was supposed to be coming out sometime this year, but again, I don't think we've got a release date yet. I want to say it's sometime later this year. I would have hoped for a springtime or summer release, but at this point, as long as we get it, I don't care. They left us on a hell of a cliffhanger last time, and I'm waiting to see where they go with that. Powerhouse Animation, again, still doing the animation for them, thank God. And, that's going to be great. Again, rumor is we're supposed to be getting a season 2 of Blood of Zeus. So it looks like Hades is going to be taking his turn as the main antagonist of the series. I mean, the first season was Hera, to nobody's surprise. Second season looks like it's going to be Hades. If they've got enough material to do a third season, that should be interesting as well. Godzilla Singular Point is coming out basically the day after Godzilla vs. Kong. So we've got basically 2 major Godzilla developments showing up in the span of basically a couple of days. And I'm very, very curious to see what the reaction is like. Because I'm not going to say they're going to split the audience, because, I mean, especially when it comes to streaming, if you've got both streaming services, you can watch both. If you've got it in the theaters in the area and you can actually get tickets, again, you can watch both, etc., etc. So you do have options for Godzilla vs. Kong. You've got options, obviously, for Godzilla Singular Point, especially because I can't imagine them not airing this series on other streaming services in Japan. In the U.S., presumably, it would just be Netflix, at least for now. I can't imagine if they want to turn this into a full-blown series that people wouldn't, tune in to watch it if it does well enough. Of course, the definition of what is well enough is another matter. Yeah. Also, again, like I said, I didn't get the chance to order the Hell of a Boss prints. Again, I'm kind of sad about that. If I ever get the chance, I will try to do that in the future. I did pick up their limited edition Luna Valentine's Day t-shirt. Shark Robot actually has a pretty good product there. I'm just going to find out if it's machine safe to wash, because I don't seem to see it anywhere on the damn label. I know it's made by Gildan, so I'm not sure if I've got to dry clean that or what. Let me think. Speaking of Hell of a Boss, we just had episode 4, was a couple of weeks ago now, and I'm looking for the way that we're seeing this now is it looks like it's every other month we're getting new episodes. I don't know how many episodes they're going to be in season 1, but from what I heard on the panel, it looks like Vivzie Pop, that's Vivian Madrano. She has, in fact, got these characters pretty well plotted out and may even have an idea already for the end of the series. So we don't know how long Hell of a Boss is going to run. I'm going to be very curious to see where that goes. For those of you who are wondering about why I haven't brought up Has Been Hotel, we still only have the pilot. And that's because A24 Films, or is it A24 or A21? I can't remember the name of the company. Either way, they got picked up as a full TV series by this company. So that is why we have not seen anything new for Has Been Hotel. We've got the pilot that is up on YouTube. We don't know where the series will air. I mean, again, my personal thinking on this would be they'll take it to Netflix because that would be the most likely place you'd want to go. These days, as cable TV is slowly dying out, for lack of a better term, we now have the option of the streaming wars. And again, I mean, Netflix is the big dog in the yard when it comes to streaming. As a result of that, I really think that's where Has Been Hotel is going to go. I'll be honest, I'm a little sad that that Hell of a Boss didn't get picked up. Simply because it's the same company. They're set in the same universe. We've seen evidence of this across the last, effectively 5 episodes if you count the pilot. So we do know that they do take place in the same universe. They're in the same world, and in fact, they have, if it weren't for the fact that they're set in Imp City, you would think this was set in literally Pentagram City because they're not that far. I don't know what the distance is between the two cities, but they literally have the exact same sky because, as we know, it's set on the so-called Pride Ring. Now, that is the ring of hell ruled by Lucifer and his wife, Lilith. And, of course, you have their daughter, Charlotte, who is one of the main characters, I believe the main character when you get right down to it, for Has Been Hotel. I honestly, I like Has Been Hotel. I love Hell of a Boss. I'm waiting to see more of Has Been because if Has Been lives up to the promise that the pilot had shown, then I think that show, if it's given like the love and care that it deserves, this thing could be a classic sleeper hit. All right, it already got great reviews on, anybody who's talked about it on most of their YouTube channels that have responded to this. Fans love it. It's been upvoted to the moon. Same thing with Hell of a Boss. Hell of a Boss, of course, is still going on because, they haven't been picked up. So it's just Spindle Horse Productions doing their own thing with this. So I'm very curious to see what we're going to be looking at as the series goes on for both of these shows. Anyway, moving on from Has Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss, let's talk a little bit about Ruby. And I can hear the people just collectively groaning. I can hear everybody collectively groaning right now. That's fine. Groan all you want. I'm going to talk about this show. I have not seen episode 13 yet. I'm going to watch that, and I will do a stream about that either tomorrow, along with whatever else comes to mind. And if not, then maybe Monday. So, Ruby Season 8. Where do I start with this? So, for anybody who has seen the last 2 seasons of Ruby, we've learned quite a bit. We've learned the origins of Salem and Ozpin. We learned that Ozpin apparently was lying out the other side of his face when he said that he was cursed. Truth is, he wasn't cursed with his successive reincarnations. He's technically just trying to uphold his end of a bargain that he made with the God of Light, which is this random character they threw into the series, seemingly at random after the death of Monty Ohm. Now, we don't know if this was a creation of Monty's. We don't know if this is something that came after the fact. Anyway, we have slowly seen one character who's been referenced since at least season 3 slowly descend into being an idiot, and that's General James Ironwood. Now, he's based, as many of these characters are, on fairy tales or pre-existing characters, most of which are now public domain. He's based on the Tin Woodsman from The Wizard of Oz. We saw this guy go from relatively understandable, like maybe a little bit of an idiot in some ways, but still a relatively reasonable authority figure. And now he's just become this gung-ho, I know best, blah, blah, blah idiot. And I mean, he literally threatened to nuke a city if he wasn't allowed to basically exploit a robot that has a soul in order to kill her off to gain access to a mystical object. Yeah, I know it sounds weird in that I was talking very slowly there, as if I was trying to figure out what the end goal of this was, but even having watched the entirety of this season, that's kind of how I feel about it, because it's like, I get he's kind of feeling the pressure and he's starting to crack. But when you go from randomly just, hey, I think we can save the world, to, oh shit, we can't win, and the next thing he does is literally shoot somebody in the head. We know that he has resorted to murder. He has declared martial law in Atlas. He's literally tried to kill everybody in Mantle. I can tell you right now, if he ends up getting saved from Atlas, presumably they're sending him over to Vacuo with everybody else, because I think that's where they're planning to send everybody. I'm going to tell you right now, once people get a hold of him, and the people of Atlas and Mantle alike, yeah, he's either not long for this world or he's very soon for jail. Yeah, so like Ironwood's career path is very rapidly losing any kind of options. I see him getting ousted from the military. I see him losing his council seat. Apparently, he held two council seats. One of them technically belongs to Jacques Schnee. So I'm waiting to see how they're going to resolve that. I don't like that they're trying to turn Jacques Schnee into their proxy for Trump, because they hated the fact that, he became president in 2016. I mean, it was very obvious what they were doing. So, I mean, bad chickens. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could come up with a better joke, but they call themselves Rooster Teeth. Bad chickens, guys. Bad chickens. Let's see. Moving right along. Redo of Healer. We're getting the next episode, I want to say, on Tuesday. I just started watching a show called Killing Bites. This has been around for a while. I've had it on my Amazon Prime watch list for a while. I don't know if it's still included with Prime, and if it's not, I got to take it off my watch list, so this way I'm not getting charged if I want to go watch anything there for that, and I don't really have to worry about it anyway, because apparently it's now on High Dive, and as such, I'm able to watch it via Verve, and I'm going to put the website for that, vrv.co, into the text. This is the website you can go to actually see anime from both Crunchyroll and High Dive. It's like $10 a month for the entirety of the place, or I think like $9.99. Effectively it's the same price for either way for Crunchyroll, but for like $5 you can just get the High Dive channel. So Killing Bites is a little weird. I don't know what the hell this is all about yet. They're referencing therianthropes, which is, animal-based shapeshifters, not altogether dissimilar from another franchise that has used the term. Of course, that's Bloody Roar. And we'll see how that goes. There's supposed to be 12 episodes. I think they've got 8 of them up on High Dive. I don't know if that's because they only ever had the 8, or if they're just starting to update these episodes with finally releasing them on High Dive. I don't know. I don't think there's a dub version yet. There might be. And we're going to find out in just a moment if I can find it. Let me see here. We have... Their list is just updated on High Dive when I saw it, so... That could be an indicator that they're just starting to re-air these. There is no sign of a dub. So right now it is pure subtitle. They have 9 episodes, and I think they just added this actually. Yesterday I saw only 8. So okay, so it looks like they are updating this as they go. So we've got another, I think 3 episodes left to be put up on High Dive for this. I'm going to take a look through it. The first episode isn't horrible, but it doesn't explain a lot. I mean, I get that. It's like they're just throwing all these characters at us, and then we're going to see what happens afterwards and possibly get some backstory as we go. That's pretty typical for a lot of TV shows these days. So we're going to wait and see what happens with that. I'll get back to you guys on that next time I do a stream, and I'll give you a general thought on that whole situation. So, I am still working on reading through Demon the Fallen, Demon the Descent, and the Demon Translation Guide. I think I have a bead on something I've been trying to find out for Demon the Fallen. Looks like I'm going to have to start making some homebrew rules if I want to do the release of any kind of a game or anything like that. That would feature player characters as angels, and I'd have to find a way to make that work. But, there you go. So, that's probably about it for that. For those people who are following the world of tabletop games, of course, Onyx Path Publishing is still putting out stuff for the so-called New World of Darkness, a.k.a. the Chronicles of Darkness. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I'm waiting to see what they're going to do with the God Machine, and that should be pretty fun in and of itself. That just brings me to one other bit of thoughts on pop culture, and that is simply this. I've always wanted to do voice acting, and I feel really, really annoyed that there's a place around here where I could take lessons, but it's over $1,000 just to get the lessons, and I don't know if that's monthly or if that's for the entire course. And then there's also the problem of like the pandemic, so we've got the lockdowns. I mean, I'm in New York State, and Cuomo, who at this point that man needs to resign now. He's basically still got us in like states of semi-lockdown all over the state. So even if I wanted to do this, I couldn't do it. So I'm thinking of getting Audacity and just trying to put together my own little demo reels and stuff, and see where we go from there. Who knows? Maybe I can get cast in something and I can just work from home. Of course, I'd have to get better soundproofing than I've got right now, which isn't saying a lot, because my soundproofing right now is literally nothing. I am literally without soundproofing. I need to get some. The problem is, with the way my apartment is set up, I'm not sure how I would do that. But there you go. I'm trying to look into, finding out if there's any places around on Facebook that are in the area that do voice acting, other than the one place around here that's up in Schenectady, but we'll see what happens. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. Not really much going on else here otherwise. I'm still waiting to get a chance to do that that political live stream, and we'll probably do that in the next couple of, probably next week or whatever, whenever we could get the chance. Still working that out with Marcus. I think we're going to probably do that next weekend. And I'm still waiting to hear back from the guys at Midnight's Edge, because they're supposed to do, or at least Tom was talking about doing an interview with me about my books. Speaking of the books, like I said, I'm working on the final chapter of one of the books that I've been working on in some way, shape, or form for the last 20-odd years. I'm hoping to get... I'm actually looking for email back from somebody else as well regarding that, so that's a whole thing. But, that's just basically how this whole thing rolls right now. The book is still being written, and I'm hoping I'll have some good news probably in the next month or two that's saying, like, hey, the book is done, and then it's just a matter of looking into getting an editor and then trying to get everything, published, and, the usual BS when you get done with, doing a book. So, I mean, who knows? I'm going to keep you guys up to date on that as best I can. And I guess that's about it. When you don't have a lot of guests, there's not much to talk about, and I think I've exhausted myself today simply because most of this was just a follow-up from the other day. And probably my next stream will be in the same situation. And for those of you who are wondering about why I'm not using my camera on here, I explained this on the other stream. I will bring this up again. Right now, I've only got the web camera for my laptop, and it's really not in the best positioning or the best lighting to be used. So at some point, I need to get a better laptop. Not a laptop, but well, I've got to get a better laptop too, but I've got to get a better web camera. And once that's done, I'll probably be able to start utilizing, visual again. I may do some regular videos where I'll be doing those off my phone, in which case, you guys will see me on the, on the actual videos. So, oh, and by the way, somebody commented on my last stream, hey, it's Fat Thor. Well, look at it this way. I'd rather be Fat Thor than Jane Foul Thor. So, yeah, fuck you. So the only other thing I can think of to bring up is I love how the guy who was the creator for OKKO Corral or whatever the hell it was is trying to blame Trump for his show being canceled. This is something else I saw on Clownfish TV, and all I can think of is, yeah, the man's not even in office anymore. Shut up. I mean, you voted for a guy who can barely get up or down stairs. Live with it. All right. I don't really have anything else to say at this point anymore. Like I said, there's really not much else worth talking about that I haven't already spoken on. I'll be doing another stream sometime during the week, and like I said, hopefully we're going to get that other stream up where I've got a discussion going on with one of my friends from Discord, and we'll go from there. So, all right, you guys take care, and I'm out. Bye-bye, y'all.